Welcome to Inside the Red Zone, Coach Smith and Mrs. Coach Smith. Hey, in today's podcast, you hear the best ways not to mix powdered Gatorade and some coaching points on how to score in the red zone and also how to score in the red zone in your marriage.
Wait, did you really just say how to mix Gatorade?
Well, actually, how not to mix Gatorade. So, man, I got a funny story to tell you tonight, man. I love just telling stories, what you get experience in 30 something years of coaching. But I will never forget back in the early 1990s, me and a good friend of mine, Robert Salmons, was coaching together at Shaw High School. And so this was actually week 7, and we getting ready to play Foley. And so me and Robert decided just to have a walkthrough to check on the kids, making sure they was game ready, getting their mind right, and getting everything, preparation for the game. So we happened to go through the training room where the ice machine is, and one of our managers was mixing, the Gatorade with the 5-gallon, cooler of ice and the powdered Gatorade and everything. And so we looked, and the manager actually rolled his sleeve up and he was mixing the Gatorade, the powdered Gatorade, with this arm. And it's, hey guys, we in week 7, and he's been a manager at Shaw probably for 10 years. We said, hey, I called his name. What are you doing, man? He said, Coach, this is the way I mix powdered Gatorade. And we said, hey, there's a boat paddle. I said, no, I'm not going to use that boat paddle. It might get splinters or chunks of wood in there. But, man, my arm's a lot better. So, guys, hey, I'm guilty. I drank a lot of that Gatorade all year. And, we didn't have a lot of water. We had a little water in the little bitty cups. But I wanted the Gatorade in the squirt bottle.
Oh, my gosh.
True story.
So you literally caught him with it red-handed.
Oh,
you
red-handed.
Caught him with his hand in
Absolutely.
The Gatorade.
So,
and that's the way he said he had been mixing it for years.
For years. And but you know what? We never had a kid to cramp drinking this Gatorade. So yeah, we said we can't do that. So we fixed the Gatorade. We stirred it with the boat paddle that night, and actually we had one kid to cramp. And he said, "Man, I told y'all I should have mixed it with my arm and not the boat paddle." Anyway, that's hilarious story. And me and Coach Salmons, we had the biggest kick out of that. We thought it was hilarious. We all been drinking that Gatorade all year and all the previous years leading to that. So that's just a funny little story to get us going. It was hilarious.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Your stories just keep me going and crack me up because I never know what's coming next, but it is so funny what can happen in a field house with a team or behind the scenes or behind the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'd be amazed at things that goes on behind the scenes at a high school football game. In college too. I'm just not a college coach. I've just been around the high school game for many years.
Yeah.
You always remember all your big wins, and of course you remember your losses and everything, but you'll never forget the comical things that happens in behind the scenes in high school football. Man, I love it. And I love reminiscing. I could talk all day about high school football, but I also love to talk about things that's happened in the past.
Well, I know this is off track of like our itinerary for right now, but with you saying that, it comes to my mind about some of our guests that are coming on.
Yeah.
And how you guys can just get together and it doesn't matter. You remember teams, you remember scores, you remember players, you remember specifics and details. It's amazing to me.
It is amazing. I can't even remember what I did yesterday, but I can tell you in 1993 when that happened, who, not just the incident, who we were playing. We got beat that night. And it's
exactly.
Yeah. And so that's just something you're passionate about.
You remember names, you remember jersey numbers and specifics. And I love it. I've always thought that was pretty cool. But to listen to you and some of these guests get together, and I get to have the honor of sitting in and listening to your conversations of how you guys can just remember it. That's amazing.
Hey, it's a lot of fun. Hey guys, I know you're not ready to just listen hear a lot about just the powder Gatorade. Hey, we got a great topic tonight, guys.
Even though that was a great how not to mix Gatorade.
Yeah.
That was not.
That's right.
Do not do it.
Hey, I got a question for you. And I know some of you guys might know this, but maybe, some of the women might know it. But I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know the term? Do you know what the term means inside the red zone? Um, you'd be surprised that the average football fan don't know what that means. So let me just go and explain it to you what inside the red zone means. So
or definitely the average wife.
Oh
The
yeah.
average coach's wife.
Yes.
This was something
you didn't really actually know.
I did not know.
Michele,
I knew that the red line popped up, but I didn't know the specifics about inside the red zone.
Yeah, and Michele watches a lot of football games with me and goes to games, watches on TV. So moving right along, the red zone is on the 20-yard line. Everything inside of your opponent is inside the red zone. So yeah, you're driving down the field, man. You've got a good drive going. It's 1st and 10, 2nd and 5, 3rd and short. You're going on an 8-10 play drive. Hey, it's pretty good. So once you get to 20-yard line, man, it gets very, very difficult to score. And like the last episode we talked about, you could have a game plan for the entire game. You got to make halftime adjustments. But when you got to have a plan when you get inside the red zone. I mean, we have been to clinics, and all we talked about is a red zone inside the red zone offense. And so, yeah, and you got to know what to do, what to call. Let me tell you why. Inside the red zone, I've coached on both sides of the ball, and I've been a coordinator. Our theory was, hey, you play pretty much vanilla, you play base. And so as they start moving the ball and getting closer to score, you better start bringing some heat. You better make an adjustment on that side of the ball from keep them to score. So my point is, the closer you get inside the red zone, the harder it is to score. Because you're going to face defenses is going to be stunting, bringing a lot of more 5 and 6 man pressures. They are going to slant the front. They're going to disguise their coverages, and the field shrinks. You ain't got that much room to play in because vertically it's shorter. So, man, you've got to be ready and to score inside the red zone.
Sounds intense.
Yeah. And, so it's the same thing with, looking in offense, you got to know what to run, this or that, and you got to be ready once you get to the 20-yard line because it's going to get a lot tougher to score. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about what it takes to score inside the red zone and we're going to talk about how to score some coach points on how to score inside the red zone. But most important, we're going to talk about how to score in your marriage and your life.
Yeah.
So
intense.
So what do you think about that, Coach Michele? Topic tonight and everything is scoring in the red zone. I think I explained what the red zone is and from an offensive standpoint, what do you got to do? How it's going to be tough.
I just keep thinking intense. It's so intense in that short, period. And now that you've shown that to me and I can fully see it and grasp it, you can feel the tension and you've got to be dead on these points that we're bringing to the table tonight. That's right.
So we're going to bring you 5 specific details as the things you got to do in order to score in the red zone, and I'm sorry, 6 things that you really got to pay attention to in order to score in the red zone. And these 6 things you can apply to your marriage or your life. Number 1, you got to pay attention to detail. Okay, so what I'm getting at from a football standpoint, you got to pay attention to detail. For an example, when you start moving, you get inside the 20, more than likely the defense is going to do something different they hadn't shown you all night. And it starts with the center. The center's guy usually makes all the calls up front, all the blocking calls. He's got to know, hey, look, did they go to an odd front? Did they go to an even front? Or are they walking up, showing pressure? Where's the mic? You got to find the mic in order to make your calls. And you're going to see a lot of different things. If you don't pay attention to detail, you're going to go up, you're getting ready to have a bad play because he's not paying attention to what there are in the box. Wow. Same thing with the quarterback. He's going to walk up, okay, but they got 2 safeties, they got 1 safety, or they playing soft man, or they playing press man. The quarterback's got to pay attention to details, and so is the center. So you know what? In your marriage, you got to pay attention to detail also.
That's so intense. I know I keep saying that, but gosh, it's just amazing at what the team has to do together. You got to have teamwork. You got to work together. But in those high pressure points like that, you better have each other's back. You've got to know those little details. So paying attention to detail on the field but paying attention to detail in your marriage, in your relationship, in your job, your career, your life, paying attention to detail is huge. Be aware of what your teammates going through, your spouse, your coworker, your relationship, your kids. Like, know them and know them well, but know that also in those high stress moments where you're getting down to the end, maybe you're just about at breakthrough or touchdown where you want to score, but breakthrough is about to happen in your relationship, in your marriage. Maybe you've been struggling through something and it's a really tough, intense season. Pay attention to those little details even more so. Like, ask the Holy Spirit to reveal what needs to be revealed and to heal what needs to heal, but to show you and be sensitive in those times so that you can still link arms with your spouse, with your teammate, coworker, relationship, whatever that we're making reference to, and just pay attention to those details.
Yeah, it's the little things. Guys, I'm give you a little bonus saying right here. Pay attention to your wife. If she gets a haircut or gets some color done, you better compliment her. Man, that's paying attention to details. She might even tell you that she's going to get her hair done or get her nails done or buy a new outfit. Pay attention to details, and compliment her. I promise you it will pay off.
Yeah. So, well, same goes for the girls. Yeah. I mean, usually we're pretty good about that. But,
oh yeah, you know. I have to admit the girls are better than the guys in paying attention to the marriage details. I promise you. So moving right along, this is the second point we're going to talk about. In order to score in the red zone, you got to be able to execute at a high level. And what I mean by that, at a high level, you know, think about this. You got 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense. That's a lot. I mean, if one person jumps off sides, false starts, if something happens, you're going to be behind the chains. Instead of 1st and 5, you're going to be 1st and 15. You don't want to have that in the red zone. You got to be able to concentrate, execute at a high level. And when you get in the red zone, I promise you, the opposing team's band is going to be playing. The cheerleaders is going crazy. Especially if you're on the road, man, it's going to be a very hostile environment, and you have got to execute at a very, very high level with all the outside track going on, all the noises and everything.
Yeah.
So, man, you got to execute at a high level. You all got to zero in. You all got to focus. That's why I think football is probably one of the best sports out there, because all 11 guys has got to execute together. If one person messes up, misaligns, or false starts, does something, it hurts the rest of the guys. So you really got to practice executing a high level, especially in the red zone, in order to score a touchdown. You know what? It's the same thing in your marriage. So Coach Miss Michele, do you want to talk about executing a high level in a marriage?
Yeah, this one was really big and hit me as you were, talking about it, and the points and the tips, and everything that kept coming to my mind was executing at a high level in your marriage and your relationships. Man, that's straight up integrity and excellence. Integrity and excellence. So what are you doing? What are you doing in your alone time? What are you doing behind closed doors? What are you doing when no one else is watching? That's integrity and excellence. Which side are you? There's a lot of things that can happen or go on behind closed doors when the other coaching staff is not there or your coworkers are not in the room. What's happening behind closed doors? How are you treating each other? What's happening when you're alone? So many things can come into play to hurt the team or to take one of the teammates out. I just can't get past thinking of integrity and excellence there. So to execute at a higher level in your marriage, you got to stay with the utmost and highest integrity and being honest and open, communication, and work with that spirit of excellence. Always think to be on the higher end of doing the best that you can at all times.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't have those little foxes and those things that you do in secret. Nothing should be secret or hidden.
Yeah. And that's some good stuff right there. Man, if you could execute a high level in those areas where what Coach Michele just talked about, man, I'm telling you, you will score big time. All right, so moving right along. The third thing that you need to accomplish once you get in the red zone, you cannot settle for field goals. You got to turn field goals into touchdowns. I mean, there is a lot of great offenses out there right now. And I mean, my goodness, they are putting up a lot of points even at the high school level. So once you get in the red zone, man, you got to turn those field goals into touchdowns. Yeah, field goals good. You at least want to get points on the board, but I promise you, at the end of the day, whoever's got the high score wins, and you've got to score touchdowns. And so don't get complacent. Oh, we're inside the 20 right here. Let's just run, some play inside the tackles right here. When they are not rushing, the box is full right there, and then they just run into a big wall. I mean, that's being complacent, man. You try to score in the red zone. I mean, things has changed in football. And it's the same thing applies to your life. You don't want to just sit there on the sideline and settle for a field goal in life. And everything that you want to do in life, outside in your marriage, outside of life, man, don't be complacent. Don't settle for a field goal. Man, you want to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Turning those field goals into touchdowns. But being complacent, I think in marriage is you just kind of accept where you're at. We just kind of get lazy. Everything's okay. We're not really going through anything major, so we're just going to kind of ride this out. I know not long ago, I think you and I both just kind of found ourselves maybe in a complacent season because everything was rolling along smoothly. It was okay. I mean, we've got decent cars, we've got a nice house, our kids are all healthy, thank you, Lord. And it just felt like, hey, this is good. We've got a great thing going on here. We weren't really hitting any turbulent waters necessarily or fighting anything during that season, but got complacent. And I think it kind of hit both of us, and we realized that we weren't really fighting to move forward. We were okay. We were just kind of getting by, just kind of stagnant. That's not what God's called us to. That's not what God's called you to. And so if you find yourself, and this is resonating with you right now, and you're thinking, hey, I think that kind of sounds like me. Let me just ask you a question. Have you been sitting on the sidelines? Have you just been sitting in the stadium seats? Are you cheering everybody else on? That's great, and that's awesome. But isn't it time for you to get off the sidelines and get back into your game? Because God has given you specific gifts and talents that need to be used. He's got something for you specifically. So don't stay in a complacent season. Recognize it, realize it, because your family, your marriage, everything will suffer. Change is going on around us, and change is inevitable, and you want to be moving forward. Even if it's a tough season, even if it's more of a losing season right now, it's a learning season, but don't stay where you are. Don't stay complacent. Get off the sidelines, get back into the game, and fight for turning just that field goal into touchdowns.
Yeah. And that's in every area of your life. Yeah. And most importantly, it's your spiritual walk with God. I mean, don't settle for a field goal. Don't until God brings you home. Yeah. That's your ultimate touchdown. Yeah. So if you're not moving forward in your spiritual life, you're only kicking a field goal. Man, yeah. Most importantly, if that. Yeah.
I mean, if even that.
Yeah.
I think that right now there's so much in society that is undermining the faith. And it's trying to get people to be confused. The enemy's trying to daze and confuse and distract. And I think the more that you can take that in your own hands and be responsible for it and pick up that spirit of integrity and excellence and really, really start focusing on moving forward.
Yeah.
And getting out of that complacency.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. You don't want to kick a field goal. You want to score. You know what? Once you score, you don't want to just kick an extra point. You want to go for 2 and really get it going, man. Run that score up. Yes. I talk about it in life, not on one of your good buddies. So, hey, moving right along, man. We got to talk about the 4th thing that you got to do in order to score inside the red zone. You know, and this is huge. You've got to be a great teammate. Yes, you got to be a great teammate from the first quarter all the way through the end of the game. But most importantly, you got to be a great teammate once you get in the red zone. What I mean by that, you don't care who scores the touchdown. Okay, because a lot of times, hey, kids get selfish. I'm sure in my life I've been selfish sometimes. You're like, coach, call my play, throw the pass to me. I want to score the touchdown. I don't want my teammate. It's not being a good teammate, man. A good teammate, you cheer for everybody. You're going to go and play as hard as you can every snap, especially in the red zone. So once your teammate makes a first down or he scores, you need to be the first one over there to give him a high five, or first one to give him a chest bump. Be so happy for your teammate that it just glows all for you. Your whole body language, your demeanor, man, it's awesome. If you're not in the game and you're on the sideline and the coach pulled you out because you had a certain personnel package, don't go say something to your coach. You be a great teammate, man. And you know, and another story, I'm gonna tell you, and I can tell you so many examples about great teammates what I've experienced over the years. I'll never forget when Jalen Monroe, after the Texas game, he sat on the bench versus South Florida. The first time they scored a touchdown, guess who was the first one out there to congratulate the quarterback? It was Jalen Monroe. And then he got on the roll, led them to the Final Four, and he was in the top 10 of winning the Heisman Trophy winner. That's a great example of a great teammate. And so, man,
absolutely.
Yeah. And that's just what it takes inside the red zone to be a great teammate. Well, you know where I'm going with this. In a marriage, you have got to be a great teammate. So, you elaborate on this about good teammate marriage?
Oh yeah. Hey, we know the saying, there is no I in team, right? There is no I in team. You don't quit, you don't give up, and you stay committed. Commitment. It's a decision to decide, to commit, to stay committed in the good, in the bad, in the ups and the downs. You commit for life. You're dedicated. You make that decision. It's not by feelings. It's not by, hey, he's getting more attention or game time than I am, or this is not working. It doesn't feel good. It's not making me happy anymore. No, that's not what we do in a marriage. You are a team. You're a teammates, and you take care of one another. So there's no I in team.
That's right, man. You got to be a great teammate when and especially in the world we live in right now in society, because everything's coming against you. And just being, a great teammate. I'm going to support her, whatever she wants to do. She's going to support me, and we're going to work together. Like Coach said, there's no I in the word team.
That's
so
right.
It's very important in siblings and in family and friends. Mm-hmm. But most important, your marriage, you've got to be a great teammate.
Dedicated, committed, and cheering them on.
Yeah.
Like, you're truly happy.
Absolutely.
For them.
And being humble. Man, I love to compete and get after everything, but I love when somebody comes across being humble.
Yeah.
You know what it says in the Bible, being humble? And it's I think it's James 4:7-8. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. Resist the devil and he will flee.
Yeah.
Draw close to God and God will draw close to you. Yeah. It's like, wow. Man, that's just a great scripture I have memorized. Just to humble yourself, and I promise you, when you draw close to God, God will draw close to you. But man, just when people are watching you and watching you on TV and watching you from the stands, be humble. Yeah. Be a great teammate. When you score a touchdown, act like you've been there before. Hand the ball to the official without bringing attention to yourself. Bring glory to God, and I promise you, you'll be a better person for it. You'll be a lot
your team
and a lot well respected.
And how respectful is that to the coaches and stuff? And I just want to say this too, because That's really been working on me in the past few years, and I've had an opportunity to be a part of an amazing faith and business mastermind for a couple of years, and I've learned so much, and I've grown and I've changed with the personal growth and development. But um, cheering other people on is it brings you amazing joy. It can bring you some really true joy and happiness when you let yourself go and realize that comparison is the thief of all joy.
Yeah.
And when you get into such a competitive mode that you're comparing yourself, all the time, it's going to stop you. It's going to stop you dead in your tracks. So comparison is the thief of all joy, and just cheering each other on.
Wow. That's
It's
a
good.
great example of being a great teammate, man.
Yes, and it just brings so much peace
absolutely.
And community.
Yeah. All right, so let's move along, man. We got two more good topics about how to score inside the red zones. Some good tips here. And the next one is being closeness. Okay, and I'm gonna quote Patrick Mahomes because it's a lot like being a great teammate. Okay, Patrick Mahomes during a year, I forgot who they lost to. He had a quote that says, once we get in the red zone, we don't have that closeness. And I was like, okay, what does he mean by that? What he's talking about, that they don't have a lot of team bonding early in the year, and it's affecting them when they get in the red zone. He said, we don't hang out together. Of course, they're all millionaires. I get that. But I don't care how much money you make, what you do, whatever, you got to be able to bond on a team.
Yeah.
You got to have that closeness together to trust your teammate. For some reason, he was saying that's hurting them because they're not very close once they get in the red zone. Okay. So some great team bonding. Every good team I've ever been on that I've coached on, we always emphasize and implement team bonding. You go to camp, yes, to learn. You go to take these kids to 7-on-7 competitions and to team camps and all this type of good stuff to learn more about the game of football. But you get some more out of that. You work on team bonding, man. You draw close together and you hang out together. I've coached a lot of different positions. I know when I used to coach the offensive line, man, the offensive line loved to eat. I'll take them to a pizza buffet, pizza was good, but more importantly, the big picture, they were all bonding together. Yeah. And it's very important you bond together as a team that you will win. And Patrick Mahomes now, it's not coming from Coach Danny Smith. It's coming from not coach, but one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He said, man, in order to score in the red zone, you got to have closeness as a team. Yeah. He said, once we came close, we turned those field goals into touchdowns in the red zone.
That's so good.
So, all right, what you think about
closeness? You know what I'm going to say about this one. Closeness, like you've got to know your spouse. You've got to know your spouse, know their love languages, but closeness, and how do you get to know them? Communication, spending time together. We talked in the other episode about touch. All of those things are so important, but closeness is still team bonding with your spouse. You go away together, get out of your normal everyday rut and routine, make a plan, make date nights. It doesn't always have to cost money, but closeness can just be looking each other in the eye, put your phones down, spend some time together. It's that same concept of team building and bonding. When you're taking them to eat, get away together. Know each other, dream together.
Oh, yeah.
Dream together and actually write it down. Don't be separated on that. Be together on that. Yes. It'll bring in some special closeness that, communicate in the off season. Communicate well in the off season.
Man, when you bring that to your marriage closeness, I promise you, you can score inside the red zone in your marriage every single time.
Yeah.
All right, last one, moving right along. Things that you got to do in order to score in the red zone is you got to be mentally tough. Coach Saban always talk about all his 5 things he does, but he's always talking about, man, you got to be mentally tough. You got to be mentally tough. Because things is going to happen. You're going to get tired. People, a coach might just, ring you out. You're doing something wrong. You can't get distracted. I've already talked about this. Once you get in the red zone, how things intensifies with the crowd, the noises. There's so many things running through your mind right now to get you distracted in the red zone. You got to block it all out. You got to be mentally tough, because you know what? I got your legs hurting. It's been a 10-play drive and my shoulder is just a little bit sore, or this, you got this ache. You got to block it all out, man. You got to be mentally tough when you get inside the 20 and inside the red zone. It's very important. And I promise you, if you're mentally tough and got this toughness about you, more than likely you're going to score and not kick a field goal. So here we go. How about mental toughness in the marriage?
Mental toughness. This is a good one, and I love this topic, and that we're ending on this because it's so powerful. So, mental toughness in your relationship, you got to block out the enemy. What are you listening to? What lies are you hearing over and over? What's negative? Are you listening to, you're unworthy and you're not good enough and you're not going to make it, and all the negativity? Mental toughness is, you've got to turn that around. What are you speaking? What are you watching? Well, who are you listening to? Who is, speaking into your life? That mental toughness is where you've got to realize, even John 10:10 says, in the Bible clearly says, we have an enemy that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Those are harsh words. To steal, kill, and destroy. And he is out to destroy relationships and families. And he has an agenda. He has his playbook, but we also have ours. And the Word of God says that we know that the enemy is coming at us like that. Mental toughness is to stay one step ahead, always stay ahead. The Word of God every day, renew your heart and mind and spirit. Do a devotion together, pray together. It will change your life. It will change your team, the two of you. Let your kids see and hear you praying and reading the Bible together. It'll change the dynamic of your home, and you will be ahead. Put on the whole armor of God every day and be ready to do that battle, to fight for one another and to fight for your kids. That's mental toughness in a relationship and marriage.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And just kind of add on to that, so once you get inside the 20-yard line, we talked about how tough it's going to be. Think about it like this, and you see your blessings, you're praying about something, and you're just about there. Man, life is good and everything's moving along. You praying for a specific need. It might be about finances, it might be about your health, or broken relationships. I don't know, whatever the scenario may be. Right before you get your breakthrough, the enemy is going to come at you and everything. You just know this: you in the red zone right there.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to give up? Or are you just going to settle for a field goal? Or are you just going to say, that's it, I'm complacent, I give up? No, man, you in the red zone right now. Your touchdown's getting ready to happen in life. Keep fighting in the red zone until you score. Don't give up, man. That's when you get to take all 6 of these principles and apply it to yourself in your marriage. And I promise you, you're going to score a touchdown in your marriage. So that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's just really good, solid, wholesome tips that you can implement every single day in comparing life to a football game.
Man, you stole my thunder. We told you last one of the episodes, life is a lot like the game of football. I might not know a lot of things, but I know a little bit about football and terminology. It's like, these football terms, I can apply it to life. But trying to be funny.
Absolutely. But it's so true.
It's so true. The game of football. It's fun to win on Friday nights. It's fun to win on Saturdays, whatever. But most importantly, it's more fun to be winners in life and be winners in your marriage. I promise you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, any other thing before we wrap it up?
I just want to say, rolling along on these episodes, and it was really cool to see how we told you that this had been in the plan. This has been in the works for 2 years or a little over 2 years. It's been talked about. It's something that we've, talked about and discussed. We've studied on. I have a separate podcast for any of you ladies listening. You want to join me over. The name of it is Finding Your Fit with Michele Smith. I'm on all the podcast channels. Sorry, guys, it is for the ladies. So, encourage your wife to go find it, or your daughter or sister, aunts, whatever. But I've already been rolling with that podcast. And so we actually had a different name that we thought the show was going to be called. We had different topics. And it's really cool to see how God just took it in his timing and he changed it around, because Inside the Red Zone was not the original name.
So we decided to do a whole episode Inside the Red Zone, because that's why we call this podcast Inside the Red Zone. Plus, I think it's a very cool name, Inside the Red Zone. It's very catchy, but more importantly, there's a reason why we call it Inside the Red Zone.
It is a great name, but when you came to me and brought that the Lord had showed you, these 6 things and how they related not only to the field, but how important that they are in our home and our marriage, I said, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's Inside the Red Zone. And so we bring this to you for episode 2, that's sharing our heart. We hope that you will continue to stay here with us, and that we're bringing something that's going to be transformational for you in your home and your life that you can build upon as we share our heart every single week. But this is how Inside the Red Zone was birthed for us. And it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Because we just completely saw God take over in divine timing, with the name, with the meaning, and the verse.
Yeah.
The verse. You didn't even share that yet.
Yeah. I'm getting ready to right now.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Hey, we got it right now. So just know, when you're about to score your touchdown, keep doing what is right. Do the right thing. Okay. And this verse right here nails it. Okay. It's Galatians 6:9. Do not become weary in doing good. At the appropriate time, you'll reap a harvest if you don't give up.
Woo.
Okay. You in the red zone. Don't give up. Keep doing good. At the appropriate time, you'll reap a harvest if you don't give up. Galatians 6:9.
So good. It gives me chills every
That's
time.
Right.
So if we're speaking to some couples out there tonight, you're going to make it. If you're feeling that really intense heat right now and you just don't know what's going to happen, just know that's your teammate. Work together. Keep pushing. Keep driving those feet. Keep pushing through, because you're just about across that 1-yard line.
That's
You're
right.
almost there. You're almost in the end zone.
Yeah.
Breakthroughs
Don't
coming.
get discouraged, man. Keep fighting. Keep doing what's right and doing good. You'll reap a harvest if you don't give up.
Yes.
All right, guys. Just remember, it's 4th and 2. What you going to do? Y'all have a good evening.
All right.
All right. Take care. See you next time.